call the meeting to order. Do we have a quorum?
Yes, sir, we do.
Yes. Call the roll.
Mr. Howard? Mr. Lawson?
Here.
Dr. Morris?
Here.
Mr. Smith?
I'm here.
Advisory member, Mr. Green? We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. Adoption of the agenda. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second that.
Moving second. Call the roll, please.
Representative Howard? Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
Dr. Morris?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Okay. Jared. Adopt the minutes. Do I have a motion? So moved. Have a second?
Sorry, I was muted. I'll second that.
Okay, it's been properly moved to second.
Okay. Representative Howard? Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
Dr. Morris?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Abstain.
Okay,
Motion carries.
all right, thank you. Matters referred from the Board of Directors. We have none. Financial, number 5, financial report. Ms. Andrews?
Good morning. In my absence, in person, I'm going to let Ms. Willis handle this section for me.
Okay, good morning again, Ms. Andrews. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am, I can.
Good. Okay, so if you turn to page 7, there will be our financial highlights for the month of May. 92% of the fiscal year has been completed. Our net income for May was $275,000. Our total revenue for May was $2.61 million. Total expenses for May, $2.54 million. For RATP Dev, we've paid them $51,009,923 to date. The next section shows our professional contracts, marketing, and security. There are details, some invoices on pages 21 through 34. I guess to give you more information on those numbers. For past donations, we have not received any new donation requests for the month of May. The penny revenue, we haven't received any payments for the month of May. However, underneath the line that says total collections of penny revenue since 2013, it shows that we have received 63.4% of the allocated money. Are there any questions? Or Roz, would you like to add anything?
No, ma'am, you did great. And Dr. Morris, underneath that section for the penny revenue, you asked that I kind of break out where we were with that. So I put what we collected, how many years we've been collecting. I guess as Crystal mentioned, we had a 22-year allocation or 300 million, whichever came first. So I gave all of that information and then I broke it down by what's remaining.
Joined the meeting.
Well, I certainly thank you. This is very good. I really like the way you did this and giving us the percentage. Ms. Willis indicated that if we run out of money, then we can use the emergency fund. And my question was, do we have enough emergency funds to cover the difference?
So enough will never be enough, but she is correct. We did set up the 2 with LGIP. We did set up those 2 reserve accounts that was intended to cover the gap until we can see what would happen with the penny tax.
Okay,
And
Okay.
right now, I think one is at 18 million. And the other, Crystal, you have it?
17. It's
Yeah,
18 and 17 million.
Okay. Okay, that's on page 8. The emergency reserve and the operating reserve,
Correct.
okay? Any question? Any board
Mr.
member?
Lawson has-
Ye-
Go ahead.
Yes. Good morning, everybody. Hey, Ross, just one quick question. So is there have we done like some sort of forecasting for an expiration of the penny? Just so we can kind of at least get it down to a quarter of the year and the actual year that it's set to expire?
Yeah, so the forecasting we did, of course, it would, if we're collecting more aggressively from the penny tax as people are spending money, it won't make it to the 22 years. I think we forecasted out to 2020, I forget the year, but I'll get that and send it out. But yes, we did forecast out to how long it would last.
2028, we had said.
Yeah. Okay, 2028, yes.
Okay, 2028. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Horace.
Yes.
I was gonna say, just to add, even that has changed though. I think staff has updated that projection as we've gone. Because originally, I think we said we knew it was gonna be early, but we said something like 2030.
Okay,
And then it keeps getting,
right.
Yes.
because the collections are so fast. But I was gonna ask Roz, can you remind me of the distinction between the emergency reserve and the operating reserve? I know we set a distinction several years ago. But can you remind me?
There actually isn't a real distinction between the ones that are at the LGIP, which kind of did a distinction, to start operating, we'll start there first. And emergencies, I say cover emergencies, but they both were intended to take us over the hump in
Right.
case of the penny, pause on a penny. But the other two accounts that we have, like the one that's at Optus Bank, that's our excuse me, that's our capital reserve. And then, so that may be the one where you're talking about it being a distinction between.
Yeah, it could be. I seem to remember some subtle difference, like the emergency was, I don't know. Anyway, so if I'm reading this correct, we've got, say, 36 million in current dollars that would buy us somewhere between a year and 2 years if the penny ran out. That's the way
Yes.
I see that. And so as we plan, that's great that we're buying ourselves that time, but I think we also have to be cognizant that that's not a long time. That if we get to the end of it and, a year and a half will go by quickly.
Certainly, Mr. Smith, and Ms. Andrews, didn't you tell us once that we had to keep 5 million in that emergency reserve account?
Not in the emergency reserve, our regular operating account with
Oh, the
security.
operating, okay.
Yes,
We set that internally as an internal.
it was set with the RFP that was done.
Okay. Oh, I see.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
If I may ask one or two more
Certainly.
questions about current year operations. So a couple of things are ahead of expectation, including the penny, as we know, but also passenger fare and special revenues, they're higher than anticipated. And then some expenses are lower, administrative expenses and professional services. Great things all. I just wanted to get your comments on those if I could. What are we seeing with respect to those kind of secondary revenue streams? And then if you could speak a little bit to how we're below expectation on expenses too.
Okay, so with respect to revenues, it's always good. Am I on mute? No, it's always good to get more than you anticipated. Passenger revenues, the increase in it, of course, when there's an increase in passenger revenues, there's an increase in passengers. So that would mean our ridership is going back up. With expenses, while we're trying to hold on to money, we're also cutting corners where we can, including professional services. So as you guys have been asking, we've been doing away with some of those services and trying to do most of them in-house.
Is there,
Um,
off the top of
and
your head,
spending less.
I'm sorry to put you on the spot, but like on the professional services, is there a particular type of expense that we're just not exporting, outsourcing? The
Professional
reason that I
service.
ask is because it's pretty significant. It's a significant difference actual to budget. And I just want to make sure that we are supporting staff enough.
Rosalind, this is Leroy.
Okay,
Okay, to the committee, and Mr. Smith, to your question, I think one of the biggest things, even that I noticed 2 years when I became interim first, was I think our focus on professional services from the standpoint of the legal aspect of it. And I just felt like if we managed the business better, then we had less or we need less assistance from legal. I think, and you all can think back maybe 3 to 5 years, our legal expenses to me was just kind of out of control. And I think just working with staff, I just felt like if we did the things that we needed to do and, go to the board or whatever committee to get what we needed or get what we needed to approve, get those things approved, then that in turn would keep us from involving legal so much, because that was a big part of it. And I just felt like, especially the last 2 years, we've really focused on that. And also from my standpoint as interim, I feel like, I have to know when I need to go to legal, or if it's a big issue, then I'm going to definitely come through the board and then to legal. But I think that's just us, I think, doing a better job as a staff more than anything. And I think that's really impact our legal expenses.
Most of it you think is legal, most of that difference.
I think so. And Rosalind, I know you work with it day in and day out more than I do, but I think that was a big focus.
yes, correct. And I think with Mike Hubble was in that, and we stopped his contract with the use of Eric, with Jackie being on board, we kind of pulled back on that. A lot of stuff we've overcome and not needed so much outside help.
Okay, I mean, that's great. I think as we close the fiscal year, when there's a big variance like that, it'd be helpful for us to kind of understand. I'm glad that it's a positive variance. I'm not, so please understand, it's not a critique. It's just, we budgeted one way and things have been far better than we thought. So it's helpful for us to understand why when there's a big variance like that.
Okay. Mr. Lawson, I see you have your hand up.
Yes, sorry about that. I was muted. Good morning, everybody. Hey, Ross, so quick question. I would be curious to know, when you have a chance, do you mind putting together our top 5 expenditures that are outside of normal operating expenditures? Obviously, like legal would fall into one, right? So that's not a normal operating expenditure. So I would be interested to see the top 5, and then I would be interested to see for you to give us a COA or a course of action based on those top 5 expenditures that are not normal operating expenditures. Because if we need to start tightening the reins, now's the time to do it. It's 2023 going into 2024. We're projecting for all funds to be exhausted from the penny in 2028. Now's the time to be proactive versus reactive.
Okay.
Thank you.
We appreciate those comments from both committee members. Also, Ms. Andrews, you indicated that professional development for staff. that was being done, and maybe that would cut down on some of the other expenses. Now, but when we have staff development, do we come back and share with all the staff members?
Maybe not to all of them may hear about here or there, but if I go to an accounting staff development, then I'll come back and share with Crystal or take what I've learned and see if I can make it work within the company.
Okay, but if need be, if it's something that the staff would benefit from, you will share.
Of
with them.
course,
Okay.
of course. Whether that's at professional development or just walking outside, I share everything.
And I'm not necessarily talking about you, I'm talking about staff development of the company.
And
Yes.
Dr. Morris, this is Leroy, and also to yes, when we have people that attend professional developments, when we do our staff meetings and we do kind of our round robin discussions, usually if it's something particular to the staff or certain department, normally we share them during that process also.
Oh, good. Ms. Andrews, as you know, I usually meet about 15 minutes before our finance committee, so I could get to understand some things that I may not understand. But I asked Ms. Willis about the annual budget on page 7. I see 42 million, 42.57. I thought our budget was almost 50 million, around 50 million.
No, sir.
So this is our operating budget, 42.57 million.
Yes.
Great, thank you.
And it's I know, and in my absence, I asked Ms. Willis to give you that 15 minutes, you know, because you normally go through the package. So she was waiting for and expecting you. And I put the number in red just so it stands out, just like I did the 92%.
Well, she did a great job. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Mhm.
Are there any more questions? If not, we thank you, Ms. Andrews and Ms. Willis for that report. Okay, moving on to number 6. Dr. Prince,
Okay, good morning.
good morning.
The finance packet, or the DD reports for the finance packets included on pages 35 to 38. And of course, 35 to 36 is just a summary of all the vendors that have DBE goals with the Connet. Page 35 reflects the percentage that we have as of May 31st. We have expended approximately $56.5 million with firms that have DBE goals, and of that, 14.7 million were awarded to DBE firms, which is approximately 26%. Then on pages 37 and 38, it's just information relevant to our contractor RATP Dale. They have expended approximately $11.7 million for DBE firms, which equates to approximately 23.8%. So they are within their cumulative goal. And on page 38 is just a just information for tracking purposes for this fiscal year only. That is the DBE report, unless there are questions.
No, I don't, but I want to say that although we haven't received the report through June yet, but it looks like, although we finished the fiscal year,
Yes.
it looks like, as I can remember, this is the first time we've met our goal. You know, we had some concern for years over meeting the goal. So I would like to thank you and all those who are involved. We didn't have any argument in some time over DBEs. So we really appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, and I want to say that I had been in communication with the corporate finance person for the contractor. So she said she was staying on top of the goal to ensure that they stay on top and that it wouldn't go below what they had promised in the contract.
Thank you. Are there any questions of Dr. Prince?
No
Okay.
questions, just a statement. No, Dr. Morris, no questions, just a statement. Dr. Prince, once we're finished here, could we get together offline? I have a few questions for you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Discussion and action item, none. Comments? Announcement, new motion? Do we have any? Okay, legal, contractual personnel, none. We're down to adjournment. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Have a second?
I'll second that. I'll second that.
Moving second, roll call.
Representative Howard, Mr. Lawson, Dr. Morris.
Yes.
Yes,
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
motion carries.
thank you. We finished with this meeting, and I thank all of you, staff and board members, and committee members and staff for your cooperation and all you do. Okay, have a nice day.